Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 22nd day. Of March, we're officially the uh, in the springtime. I hope everybody's having a good week here. Me, not too bad. A little bit of thoughts and prayers for it. Texas had a lot of tornadoes yesterday. I thought we were going to get some of that today. We did have some rain here in the Nashville area, but it wasn't nowhere near as bad as it was there. So I actually got some decent time tonight to do the program. As you guys know, for my day job, I do a courier job where I drive around town everywhere. So a lot of free agents out there. They got signed. Cincinnati hitting a home run here. Denver hitting a big home run there. Just a lot of good free agent signs. New low for ESPN for even their standards. I'll get into that a little bit later with the stunt they pulled the other day. But first, this Deshaun Watson thing is huge, folks. So I just want to I think that there is, judging by some of my friends I've talked to in my circle around work and everything, there's a misconception about the timelines of why he wanted to get out of Houston. I think there are, I don't think I know from friends I've talked to, that there's a misconception that he wanted out because of the issues of Houston, because of the issues of his off the field issues. That is not the case. Okay. The timelines, people were kind of looking at them as they're parallel. They are not parallel. They are different timelines. So I'm gonna explain that first, okay, and then I'll explain why Cleveland made the right move. And I think they're getting unfairly. They are getting raked over the coals for signing Deshaun Watson. Okay, they are Peter King, Sports Illustrated. I mean, and a lot of the national conversations are, and this is why my show is separating. It has and will separate from a lot of your corporate media because they won't even touch this. This is a great signing for the Cleveland Browns, but they're getting a ton. I mean, just a whole lot more than I could ever imagine. The blowback from this. But anyways, okay, let's go back on the timeline. Okay, Sean Watson, uh, three-time Pro Bowler, Houston Texans. Let's go back to 2020 season. Okay, even a little bit before that, Bill O'Brien, their head coach, the owner of the team died, Bob McNair. Okay, the team moved off a general manager. They couldn't find a general manager. Bill O'Brien, longtime coach there, won the division a few times. The family's running the son. So instead of just taking time, hiring general manager, he puts that hat on Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien is doing well. He's winning divisions. This guy's not too educated on this. This owner's son, a lot of this happens. So he puts the hat on Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien, the head coach and the general manager of the Houston Texans. We're talking 2019, 2020, correct? Starts making all these crazy trades, including trading Deshaun Watson's favorite weapon, DeAndre Hopkins. He makes a big move for a left tackle. Okay. Long story short, team falls apart, as I predicted on this program. Team falls apart in 2020. He's fired mid-season, not just fired from general manager, fired as a head coach. He's a former Patriot assistant coach, one of the few former Patriot assistant coaches under Bill Belichick that actually was successful. Most of them are total duds, okay? And there was some word that maybe Deshaun Watson will have a say in who's going to be the new coach. A lot of this going around. And so they decide to hire a general manager, realize how much a mistake that was. I could have told them that for free, okay? So the organization hires this Nick Caserio guy, another New England Patriot guy. He was a former player personnel person from New England. He becomes the general manager. This ticks off Deshaun Watson. We are around January of 2021 now. The season's already ended. Okay, we're in January, early February 2021. No sexual allegation charges at this time. Okay. Then it becomes known Watson's totally irritated. No talking to about the coach. They go in and hire David Culley, assistant in Baltimore. Nothing was ran by Watson. Shouldn't been, but he says they did say something, and he's just very frustrated. This guy's a 3-time Pro Bowler. His last playoff game, they was up 24. They were up 24-0 against the Kansas City Chiefs in 2019, only to blow the league and lose the game. So this guy's a really good player. All right. So now we're in 2021. Watson requests a trade. The new general manager, Nick Caserio, says, no, we're not going to trade Watson. Blah, blah, blah. We're iron-fisted about this, okay? So that came about then. Go fast forward a couple months to March. You go fast forward to a couple months to March. Then the first allegation comes about of the sexual assault or whatever. It is a civil suit. It's not a criminal suit. This woman's lawyer, Deshaun Watson, puts out a tweet, and to his the day before this goes down in March, he puts out a long message to his social media saying that I don't want to. I was offered to settle this case for 6 figures. My name's being ran in the ground. They're going to go public with this. They went public. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jenner. They went public with it the next day. They meaning Mr. Bugsby and his client went public the next day on social media, traditional media. You guys name it. That's what happened. They went public with it. Then, these are civil suits at this point. Then the number starts going up day after day after day. Okay? The number starts going up day after day. Then we get to 22. And everybody's saying, including myself, why are you suing this guy for a sexual assault and not filing a criminal complaint? So then they start to hear the noise. So then out of those 22 people, 9 file a criminal complaint. Harris County, that's Houston, Texas. And then you have this, and then you have a complete stalemate. Now we're going past the draft. There's total stalemate. Fast forward, this guy, Deshaun Watson, never plays it down in 2021 season. We know that. And meanwhile, these cases are still pending at that time. Possibly the Miami Dolphins, right? They had a shot. They had a shot to get them, and then they just bowed out. So, all right, that's kind of caught. We're caught up there, right? So you have all that going on. Then let's fast forward to a couple weeks ago. Those criminal charges, where there was interviews done and all this stuff. He says his side of the story. They say theirs, and those 9 criminal. So you had check, and this is I'm taking up for Cleveland. This is what Cleveland saw. Cleveland sees this. So out of 22 civil complaints, 9 are criminal complaints. Out of those 9 criminal complaints, the grand jury could not find one smidget of evidence to charge Deshaun Watson. One little smidget. And before I go into this, I just want to say, listen, guys, and there's a lot of women that's come out strong against Watson. I have 2 sisters. I got 3 nieces. I've got 3 aunts, a mother. I care for the mistreatment, verbal abuse, physical abuse of animals, women, children, anybody, but especially women, children, animals, correct? So, but I just like to tell the actual facts instead of the emotion, all right? And I'm defending of why that I think that Cleveland done their due diligence, and the fact that I understand why they did what they did is what I'm telling you. So out of those 9, the grand jury could not find enough to even charge, not go to trial guilty, not guilty, to even charge Deshaun Watson, okay? And again, for those of you who just jumped on, this was one complaint that could have been settled outside of court, but he did not do that. This was not a complaint where you had a complaint, complaint settlement. This is one complaint. All right. So that's where we're at right now. So, and everything that I'm telling you is factual based. This is from Sarah Barshop of ESPN, the Sports Illustrated timeline. And also, there were 10 at one time that filed a criminal complaint. One of those women were being investigated by the FBI, for extortion. She later dropped her charges, saying this was consensual sex. I'm not condoning Deshaun Watson and his accusations, okay? But so the fact that out of 9, the grand jury could not find anything to charge him with. This idea that the NFL should suspend him for this. Should I tell you, Robert Kraft never got suspended when this was a different situation, but it was something to do with solicitation. Okay, he never got suspended by the NFL. He never got suspended by the NFL. Okay. Antonio Brown was never suspended for his suing of sexual assault. Some people bring up the Ben Roethlisberger case. That was looked at as a mistake, according to Mike Florio. Okay. So where's the consistent there from the NFL? Some people bring up the Ray Rice case, the two-game suspension. Then the video comes out of him knocking out a woman. Okay, I get that. He was in his 30s, never signed back with another team. That's inconsistent. Why do you say that, Robert? Well, because Joe Mixon, the running back who just played in the Super Bowl, was drafted in the second round. He was a first-round talent. Why was he drafted in the second round? Because he knocked out a woman on camera his freshman year at Oklahoma, and he got 0 suspension in the NFL. Now, where is the consistency there? Okay. So that makes my case for Cleveland. All right. What's Cleveland's case? Cleveland is a Super Bowl ready team that wants to win a Super Bowl. Cleveland had their own private investigators look at this with the other teams, Carolina, Atlanta, but particularly Carolina and Cleveland that I've read, I've verified, that they've had their personal people look at this situation, okay? And you say, well, they signed him. They gave up a ton. Yeah, 3 first-rounders. Then Adam Schefter says they gave up 6 total picks, later picks in these 2 rounds. But let me mind you something I mentioned on the Mac and Jack and Jim Jeff Coates show on Sunday. This team has had 1 Pro Bowl alternate quarterback since 2007. That was Derek Anderson, guys. Go back farther than that. We're talking Bernie Kosar. It's in 1987. All right. So why do they have to pay $230 million guaranteed? Because it's Cleveland, Ohio. They have 2 first-round overall picks on their team. Currently on their team, Baker Mayfield and Myles Garrett. Why did they have 2 first-number all? Because that means they were the worst team in the league. So why would a guy 26 years old go to one of the worst franchises in NFL history over the past 25 years? Detroit and Cleveland. They had to offer more. And third of all, every quarterback that was the best quarterback in each division won the division in NFL last year. Every quarterback that was considered the best quarterback in each division in the NFL won the quarterback. So Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, Mr. Haslam, they all know this. They all know this, that you have to have a quarterback in this league to win. Okay. This guy's not going to be charged criminally. Okay. And he's 26 years old. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. Yes, I think that's suitable. Okay. But they are getting raked over the coal for this. And nobody said anything about it when he was talking about going to Atlanta. I sense there's a little bit of jealousy there. from some people. There's a little bit of envy there. And I'm not condemning what he's being condoning what he's being charged with. But, and going back to the case itself, I just want to ask this question. These were civil suits first. Why? This is what separates me from everybody else, okay? This is us talking here. Why wasn't a criminal suit filed first? Why wasn't a criminal suit filed first? And Rusty Hardin, he calls it a money grab, you know? He calls it a money. Pickle says scam artist. And you got to ask yourself this again. Why wasn't a criminal trial? Why were these charges? Why were these incidents in 2020 were not brought up until 2021 with a six-figure settlement proposal? So those are questions. Those are tough questions. But if you want to be equal rights in this country and all that stuff with women, I get it. But you also have to be it's equal difficult questions to ask. This is everything the Cleveland Browns are thinking about, are contemplating. Okay, so let's go back to the. So that's all I have to say about it. I think they'll probably settle eventually. Unlikely. Unfortunately, it looks like Watson may get suspended 6-8 games. I think he should appeal it. I think the NFL is making a black eye, but keeping a story in the news. You know, the outragers on the internet, and I'm going to get into social media here in a minute. I'm going to really hit social media hard here in a few minutes. But they're going to pass. Their outrage is going to pass. It's already calming down today. That's 24 hours. First work day yesterday is a bunch of crazy stuff. So, anyways, the trade itself, mainly you got the 3 first-rounders, and then you got the 4th rounder and the 5th rounder. And I think he threw in another pick there. So you got six total picks for Deshaun Watson. Absolutely, you turn over tables to get a player like that, okay? They have a provision in his contract. They're only paying him like $1 million to save for this year. They have a window. They statistically last year had the best roster in the NFL. So this is their window. I think it's a good move. I think they're going to compete. I think they're going to compete in the league, not just in the AFC North, possibly for a Super Bowl. They're right in there in that they're right in there in that mix. Okay? So anyways, all right. So now we have Carlos, good to see you, buddy. Deshaun Watson wanted a trade. Now he's a Houston Texan. We just talked about, or he's a Cleveland Brown. Russell Wilson, still somewhat in his prime. He was a former Seattle Seahawk. Now he's a Denver. Matt Ryan, he's now with Atlanta. Okay. Now look at Baker Mayfield. Now he wants to get out of Cleveland. That's a lot of requests for trades. Okay. I've said this last year. I've said this the year before that. These guys are not employees, guys. They are not employees. They are contractors. If you have a contract, both parties should have the option to get out of the contract. All right? My proposal to the NFL is not your rookie contract. We want to keep the league in balance. Nobody would want to go to Cincinnati before they had Joe Burrow. Now they have a great offensive line. They would not have got these free agents if they're not showing the kind of success on the field. Not their rookie contract. But the second contract, the player should have the same amount of rights as the organization. For example, the Green Bay Packers just signed to extension of Aaron Rodgers. Massive contract. His dead cap money. What does dead cap money means? Dead cap money means if the player's cut or traded or cut, actually part of it is traded. But if a player retires or he's cut that team has that dead cap money. So if the Packers just had a big infeud fighting with management folks and they wanted to cut Aaron Rodgers, say this summer, for whatever reason, they're on the hook for $175 million out of a $208 million salary cap. Okay. So you say, well, Rob, what are you getting at here? All I'm saying is if a player is signed on by a team in his second contract and something happens where he loses a coaching staff or a new management team comes in, they start cleaning house and he gets disenfranchised. Okay, he should have the option of shopping himself just like the league has the option to shopping him. He gets to buy out his own contract. And you say, well, how does that work? Whatever team he finds or his agent finds for him, this should be in the collective bargaining agreement. That dead cap money that the team that gave you that extension, that money would transfer over to the new team. That would because he's an independent contractor. In other words, you could shop yourself, but there's going to be a penalty for the new team you go to if you shop yourself. So if I'm I'm Aaron Rodgers, just look, imagine me being Aaron Rodgers, okay? And I have another fallout with management, and I want to leave this summer. Okay, we'll say, yeah, fine. I'll go talk to the Colts. Okay, we'll throw the Colts out there. The Colts have to take on all that dead cap money, and they have to take on my contract. There's no trade compensation, but here's what's a good part for the team that's signed. They have no dead cap situation money. They get all his cap freed up immediately. You are a contractor, just like you should have the same amount of right over your contract that the team does after the second contract. Okay. The penalty is, and just like a regular contract, guys, I look at this all the time. It's called spot track. I look at this. The dead money, the contract goes up usually year after year after year. But the dead money for the contract, the team is only liable, goes down. It goes 175, 90, 80, 30. And then they'll say they have an out in 2025. Goes down to 20, 22, 18, 5. So that number goes down. So essentially, if you have a fallout with your team, you sign a big contract. What I'm proposing, it discourages what we're seeing right now. But if it gets too toxic, where you cannot stand who you're working with, that number will go over to the other team. If you can't find anybody to do that, you got to come back to work. How simple is that? The team to do it, the team can do it. The team can cut you, but they still have dead money on their cap. You can cut them. But if you cut them, they've already invested into you. Whatever team you go to, they got to carry that. There is no ifs, ands, and buts. Now, again, that number will go down as the years go on. That's something maybe the NFL or the NBA should look at. It will prevent stuff like this from happening. Again, we're talking three players at one time wanted out. Two did. One got a major extension. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson. Two of the three got big extensions. So we're there. All right. Now, again, I like the Watson deal. I understand the $230 million guaranteed. That cap hit is really low this year. I think Cleveland's going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine. He may get suspended. I would not have got rid of Casey Keenum. I don't like that move, but I do understand. And as far as Mayfield is concerned, all right, Mayfield puts out this "feel sorry for me" letter before he's even dealt with on Thursday, and he's whining about everything. And the knock on him from quarter Chris Mortensen to ESPN that he has, they want a grown up. They want a grown up. And I said the Colts might not be a good fit because the Colts had issues with leadership issues with Carson Wentz. That was reports out of him. Not vocal enough. Leadership issues. Turns the ball over too much. Kind of the same guy, except Baker Mayfield was shorter player. So now they've made a move and got Matt Ryan. Baker Mayfield does not have a destination. My guess is Seattle will offer them a 4th-round pick. A 3rd-round pick is what the Colts gave up for Matt Ryan. And that's $40 million in dead cap money. That's how much they wanted to move on, the Atlanta Falcons. As far as Baker Mayfield, I wouldn't keep him there. I think that will cause too much of a distraction. He is $18 million. Maybe they do. Maybe that's an insurance policy while they traded Casey Keenum. But there were reports that he was going to hold out anyways. What have you proven, man? You tear your labrum. You're playing when you're hurt. You're not helping your team. And then there was rumors you're going to hold out Baker Mayfield. So I would try to illustrate that trade if it's me, even though I understand he'd be a good backup for 1 year. Carolina still needs a guy, but they still got Sam Darnold. I don't know. I don't know if you want to do that. Seattle, if you're going to give me I would ask a second. They'll probably hang up on me for Baker Mayfield. I would ask Seattle that, but I think maybe that will probably happen after the draft if these teams don't get the quarterback they want. The 2 quarterbacks I think that are really going to be talked about is Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis. I think Seattle's going to try to get Malik Willis, and if Pittsburgh can get Pickett, I think they'll try to get Pickett. Maybe Washington takes Pickett anyways and lets him compete with Carson Wentz. Somebody somewhere is going to get Kenny Pickett, and it's probably going to be a surprise team. But I do think Seattle really likes Malik Willis. They picked 9th. But we've seen stuff happen last year where teams traded up and got quarterbacks. I can see that happening again this year. But as far as the Colts are concerned, they can get rid of him next year, Matt Ryan. He's another stopgap guy. Chris Ballard, the general manager there, gets in and out of big contracts. He's like the general manager of Oklahoma City Thunder. Even LeBron talked about him. He gets in and out of big contracts constantly. That is an okay move. That is not a great move. Matt Ryan, they will be in the playoff hunt for a while, but they're wanting to move off of him. As far as Atlanta, of course, Atlanta's wanting to draft somebody. All right. They're also going to be in that mix. They may get Kenny Pickett. They may get Malik Willis. They're picking 8th, something like that. So Atlanta will be there. Maybe they draft up and get one of those guys. I would try to get a Kenny Pickett myself. I like him better. I hear Malik Willis is that $18 million. Now that can be negotiated. That $18 million can be negotiated. For example, Tennessee talked Miami into taking part of Ryan Tannehill's contract when they made that acquisition hit there. Of course, Marcus Mariota's with Atlanta. I don't think anything of that. I don't think nothing of that. Hold on for a second, guys. I don't think anything of Marcus Mariota doing that. I think he is a guy that's familiar with the head coach there, with the Tennessee connection, with Arthur Smith there. So I don't think anything of that. I still think they're going to try to get a guy. And you're talking about Sam Darnold. Guys okay, my thing is, judging by their actions and not their words, that Carolina's not really impressed with Sam Darnold. Atlanta's not really that impressed with Mariota. They give him a 2-year deal. All right. So I do not think that. Seattle, there was reports that, we love Drew Lock. They're just saying that because they don't have anybody else. They want to give him some confidence and some more trade bait. So they're not in love with Drew Lock. If Carolina was so much in love with Sam Darnold, they would have not be all the way up into the very last second in the Deshaun Watson mix. All right. But, again, giving up a third round for a guy like Matt Ryan, Chris Ballard, low risk, high reward. I like that. Remember, he's a $23 million cap hit. Atlanta ate part of that money. Atlanta has a $40 million dead cap now, which Arthur Smith may get fired because he inherited a bad financial situation, the head coach with Atlanta. But kudos to the Colts for getting in and out of these big contracts, Okay. So who made the biggest moves? We've already talked about Russell Wilson, but we don't know what that system's going to look like there in Denver. We're not sure about the chemistry between him and the head coach, even though he's got an offensive mind. I think it's going to be good. I think it's the best move. Ready-made team, other than Deshaun Watson, even though Watson didn't play last year. But I did not want to downgrade what Cincinnati's done, okay? They just signed Lyle Collins yesterday, former Dallas Cowboys. He's going to play right tackle. Their worst Achilles heel in Cincinnati was the offensive line. Well, they've added 3 new offensive linemen. Right tackle, Lyle Collins, former Dallas Cowboys. Dallas overpays everybody. They couldn't afford Collins. And they've also got Alex Kapka from Tampa. He'll play at right guard. And Ted Karras from New England, another New England offensive lineman gone. Now, he's supposed to play center. They're quietly having a flawless offseason. I've noticed this for years. And offensive lineman is the position that I pay in free agency more than any other position other than maybe quarterback, which is very rare, right, in the league. And you say, why? Because since the CBA in 2010, that is the slowest developing position because it's about timing, technique. There's no more two-a-day since 2010. There's only so many hours a week since 2010. If you give me a 30-plus-year-old offensive lineman that's relatively healthy, I'm going to sign him to that third contract. Okay? That's just run blocking, pass blocking. Remember, Joe Burrow was hurt in the Super Bowl because of his offensive line. He had an MCL sprain. If he don't sprain his MCL, there's champions. And before that, remember, he come off an ACL injury. It's comeback player of the year crap, right? So now they have a rebound, much more experienced, much upgraded offensive line. Andrew Whitworth's 40 years old and retired. He was in his 30s when the Rams got him from a free agent and paid him a good chunk of money, paid off big, from Cincinnati. When they were done with this guy, played all the way up to 40. They missed a couple games last year. But that position is the position you pay, not these wide receivers, the big flashy wide receivers. Even though short term, I do like that Davante Adams move. He's 30. He's not 33. I thought he was 33. Davante Adams, 30 years old. He played Fresno with Derek Carr. Okay. They've had a pretty good offseason as well. All right. Him, Josh McDaniels, really aggressive offense. Kind of like, I think that's John Gruden, possibly for John Gruden as far as offensive scheme is concerned. And then you've got Darren Waller to win that team, Josh Jacobs. They've got a pretty good team there. And they got Chandler Jones on the defensive line. Unfortunately, they got to play the LA Chargers with Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. That is massive with Derwin James and Joey Bosa. Re-sign Mike Williams. They're going to be a dogfight, but now if you're Vegas, you can go hand to hand with them. You can go hand, and then of course, Kansas City is going to be Kansas City still. They're rearranging some things, but they're still going to be Kansas City. And then Denver's got Russell Wilson with that defense and a lot of depth. So it's going to be the strongest division in football. It's going to be like the AFC West. Another thing, Buffalo, New York, another place people don't want to play. You have to pay more. The same situation with Von Miller is similar to the Deshaun Watson, him getting the $230 guaranteed money. Von Miller is 33 years old. He is getting $45 million guaranteed. Next year, that will be an $18.7 million cap hit. But this year, it's only $5 up in Buffalo. They need one more stop, one more sack, one more pass breakup, and they're in that Super Bowl, possibly. Well, they're playing in that AFC Championship game in Buffalo against Cincinnati. So I like the risk of the Von Miller deal there because it's Buffalo. It's hard to get people to come up there, but that is very expensive. They're probably going to regret it on the back end, but you play for today. Yes, Pickle says Buffalo is all in on the Super Bowl. Yeah, their window's going to start closing because Josh Allen's number, guys, is going to go higher and higher and higher. It's only 16 this year. 16. Think about this, guys. Mad New Yorkers asking me about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's cap number is $18 million in a fifth-year option. But the way the cap works, when you get these extensions like this and you add that signing bonus, that takes that cap hit down initially. And it's only $16 million for Josh Allen, a MVP caliber player. So what do? You load the freaking barrel like the Rams did, and you go for the Super Bowl. I think they should get more players. Maybe they bring in another running back. They didn't get Leonard Fournette. He went back to Tampa. They're going to be good, but they've got Ken Dorsey now. That may be a huge blessing in disguise for this fan base. Because they were not running the ball enough with the ball from Buffalo. Now, Ryan DeBall, the former offensive coordinator, is the Giants head coach. They had problems running the ball. Now they've got Ken Dorsey. Hopefully he can work with that offense there and get them running the football more in Buffalo. And, of course, you've got Von Miller on the pass rush there. They're thinking Super Bowl or bust. They're not thinking compete with New England no more. They're thinking we got to get there. We got to get through Tennessee, Kansas City. Now it's going to be Denver, Cincinnati, LA Chargers. They got a lot of big dogs coming up ahead of them. But how can you turn down that kind of money if you're Von Miller? You know they wouldn't offer that much in LA. They don't have it. But they do right now in Buffalo, $16 million. I think they have a chance to do it. I think they seem to have the most talented team. Hopefully they'll get Tre'Davious White back at cornerback. But it's my favorite, though, in the AFC, other than Wilson, because quarterback is everything. I mean, those three offensive linemen, Hayden Hurst is now with Cincinnati. Cincinnati, Buffalo, I'm curious. Hopefully they play in the regular season. I'm really curious about how that's going to play out. But I tell you what, you gotta be excited for what you see. Okay, Miles Jack went to the Steelers. Again, the Steelers, they're 8-9, 9-18. They're going to be about like they were last year. They've got Miles Jack now playing alongside Watt. The defense is going to be good, but man, with Mitch Trubisky there, a little bit more athleticism at the quarterback position. What are they going to do in the draft? Is Mitch Trubisky a stopgap guy? He's not the guy. He's not the guy. I was talking to Carlos and Keith on there. Mitch Trubisky is not the guy. If he was the guy, he would be a Chicago Bear. Okay? And if he was like Matt Nagy did a lot of smoke and mirror plays for Trubisky. Trubisky had trouble, kind of like Jalen Hurts, not as bad as making his second read. Okay? That's why he got shipped out of town, and the team ended up drafting Justin Fields. So, anyways, going right along to the next story, and I'm not sure which one to go with. I'm going to go with John Calipari. Biggest upset, I think, in the March Madness. First day one. I think maybe that's the biggest one. I know that Baylor lost to North Carolina. North Carolina is a traditional power. Yes, Baylor was a 1 seed, but I think it was Kentucky losing to a 15 seed, St. Peter's. That's John Calipari's second stint. This team hasn't been to the Final Four since 2015. They were out of the tournament last year because of self functions or whatever you want to call it, sanctions, self-ban, whatever you want to call it. And they have trouble finishing games because they meaning Calipari. I got my Calipari tie on, right? And I've got my blue Kentucky tie on. And my thing is, he's worried too much about one and done rather than player development. He's been there for 12 years. Remember Bill Walsh's line, people stop listening to you after 10 years. I think they should move on from Calipari. I think Calipari has just ran his course there. And this between the transfer and the one, he's not getting enough player development. What they really need is to draft or recruit more in-state players that want to be there, players that's going to be there 3 and 4 years. Then you sprinkle in 1 or 2 one and dones. Don't make the whole team one and done. Don't make the whole team be presented as one and done. I don't think he can make that correction, Calipari. I just don't think he can. He used to not be this coach. I've been watching Calipari for 25, 27 years, guys. I remember when he had the UMass team in 1996 when his best player wasn't even considered a 4-star guy, Marcus Camby. He was a 4-year starter at UMass. Calipari's gotten away. See, what do you do? I would try to get Rick Pitino back. Oh, that's crazy. He's 70 years old. Hear me out. He's currently coaching Iona. You bring back Pitino for a 3 to 5 year deal, and you wait out Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan looks good right now in Chicago, but you guys know how impatient these NBA organizations are. They're down to the 4th seed. They was up to the 2, the 1. Billy Donovan used to coach at Kentucky. I think this is his last straw in the NBA. I do not think they're going to win a championship. I think they'll probably underachieve in the playoffs, the Bulls. And I think this is his 3rd stint, 3rd team. Then he coached Washington. Then he left Oklahoma City, right? Or he's fired from Oklahoma City. Whatever, even if it's his 2nd stint. He's been offered jobs in college before. Go get Rick Pitino for a year or 2 and wait out Billy Donovan, or go out and get an assistant somewhere, or maybe go after Mark Few and Gonzaga, possibly. But Kentucky, one of the biggest brands, if not the biggest brand in basketball, with North Carolina. Nobody knows what Duke's going to do now that Krzyzewski's going to retire. Nobody knows. They may be bad. Kansas, North Carolina, they seem to be going through coach after coach, and they still stay on the up and up. I'm not sure about Duke. Who was there before Krzyzewski? Maybe he's a one-time guy, But Kentucky, Kentucky's a big program. Kentucky's been a big program through multiple coaches, going back to Adolph Rupp, Rick Pitino, black guy slipping my name, and quite frankly, Tubby Smith. Thank you. Tubby Smith has. I thought he was a better X's and O guy than Pitino. He just wasn't a good recruiter at all. Just a terrible recruiter. So I do think Kentucky should move on from Calipari. I don't think I'm being hot takeish, you know. Bring Pitino in 2 years. Tino likes Iona. That's what he says, Carlos. A lot of people say they like stuff until they don't. I'm sure he would go to Kentucky. You know? Yeah, Tubby won. Tubby won at UK. I was a big Tubby fan. But once he wears players down, he wears you down emotionally. He's kind of like Thibodeau. You got tips. He's just not a good recruiter. He's been fired a couple times since he left. He needs somebody else to recruit him and him to coach him. But I still love Tubby Smith. But he does lack in recruiting. And that is just not what I'm thinking about. With speaking of college basketball, good transition. New low point for ESPN. And guys, I'm sounding pretty calm right now, but man, I was really ticked off about this. Let me see what time we got here. Still got about 10 minutes, and I can change out. So women's college basketball game's on. It's on ESPN. And this Ellie Duncan at the halftime, I think this was Friday. I want to say this was Friday. She says that ESPN is going to organize a walkout. We'll have a moment of silence because of the new Florida law stating ban on teachers teaching sex to first graders. And I've got the exact quote. I've saved this from an email, and I hope this email comes out right. This is from the Outkick website. But this is what Ellie Duncan, she's a ESPN personality. This is at halftime of a basketball game. This is like the halftime show. Can you imagine me saying, yeah, I'm here. Let's talk about the halftime. But first, let me tell you about this new pro-life bill. Well, what? Listen up. Ellie Duncan.
Legislation happening in Florida and across other states as well that are targeting our LGBTQI plus communities. Many of our colleagues here at ESPN have planned and organized a walkout that will be happening at 3 p.m. Eastern today. And to be honest with you, we thought we were going to come here today and really celebrate a sport that has meant so much and done so much, including for so many in the LGBTQI plus communities. But we understand the gravity of this legislation and also how it is affecting so many families across this country. And because of that, our allyship is going to take a front seat. And with that, we're going to pause in solidarity.
The audacity of these people. And, you know, this has not been an issue over the last few years with ESPN. You've had your little tidbits of Stephen A. Smith says some offensive things over the years. But really, this is kind of and what she's talking about. Okay, so say this out loud. A basketball game. So they used to take stuff that athletes are doing and then go off on their political lectures. Now they're just going off on their political lectures and they don't have an athlete to lean on. I guess you could say that the stereotype that the women's basketball players are lesbians. I don't know what she was thinking. And I don't know if Disney was pushing this. All I know is ESPN has been real quiet about this stuff, doing this annoying things. Do you recall personalities like Bomani Jones? Everything is racist guy from ESPN. This guy's had 3 jobs at ESPN. Why? Because he can't hold a rating because He likes to play that card, that super left-wing politics. Has nothing to do with whatever he's talking about. He makes it there. Dan Patrick, or not Dan Patrick, Le Batard would want to lecture people on his politics on his radio show. They finally got Jemele Hill. They finally moved up. The former president hired all these people. They said it was some kind of cocaine thing or whatever, but then they moved on from him. But now, since ESPN has call it SEC game contract wrapped up, they have new NFL contracts this sorting out. So now they want to go back to lecturing people on their politics who nobody wants to hear about. Even if it's my politics, I don't want to hear about that crap. You know, like Jay-Z said, I came to the club to get that off my mind. I came here to get that off my mind. But there's good news, folks. There's good news on the forefront. And there's also another story of why they're doing this. And mind you, she mentioned that. She talks about women, LGBTQ. They fail to mention a real sports story that's controversial. Is this Leah Thomas swimmer who competed as a man and finished 554th as a man college swimmer, and is over 6 foot tall, now says he's a woman, and the average woman swimmer's 5'7", and he's destroying these women in these competitions. They don't talk about that. That's a legit sports story. But they want to talk about a law in some state that has nothing to do with nobody currently in their game. But again, I digress. Why are they doing this? People ask why. And I'll tell you why. Most of the media is on Twitter. I said, people say, Robert, you're a hypocrite, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I go to Twitter because I get stories from reporters. It's easier to access them. But Twitter is a cesspool of cancer, raw, toxic, far left wing, Northern California only, San Francisco politics that our media, sports media, political media, our pop culture, they all buy into that, and they force that garbage on America that nobody wants to hear. You know, that's most of the country don't want to hear that. And these executives see what's trending on. Half of it's not even true. Twitter, 8% of the population's active, and only 3% tweet on a regular basis. 3% to 90% of these are real data here from Twitter. But Twitter is and you say, well, what's the answer to ESPN's crap? What's the answer to Twitter? Twitter's going to get theirs, guys. ESPN's going to get theirs. Why? Why do you say that, Robert? Why? Because between the next administration or the one after that, Twitter has been censoring voices they don't want to hear, not toxic people, ones that's not of the Northern California voices. And they are amplifying, through algorithms, the voices, the messages. This is called propaganda. This is modern day propaganda, okay? That they think that's relevant. There is a bill called, the governmental protection of Twitter. And it's called Section 230, Title 47. And what that is, that protects these social media companies because they're supposed to be a free public forum. They're like talking free speech. It protects these people from getting sued as well, they are a publisher. They censor what they don't want to hear, and they amplify what they want to hear. Okay? They're going to get theirs. They're going to be minimized. They're going to go down. Mark my word. You mark my word. How is ESPN going to get their upcoming? Well, ESPN is going to get their upcoming. They've already got part of their upcoming. Cord cutting's been going on for years. Amazon is streaming Thursday night football next year. Okay? What does that mean? That means eventually the NFL, this is my opinion, but I'm backed up by precedent here. The NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, whatever, NASCAR, they're eventually going to get on to streaming themselves to you, the general customer. Me, I don't want to be lectured to by a sports person on my politics, okay? I'll go to MSNBC for that. I'll go to Fox to. Why do you think shows like ours, Mad New Yorker, are getting more and more play? Because people are tired of that nonsense. So the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, they're eventually going to have it where you, me, we can stream directly from the leagues on our phones, on our smart TVs. There won't be any commercials. You'll pay one fee to that league. And trust me when I say this, I used to watch a lot of ESPN. I just started watching Get Up again. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And now that everything's kind of calmed down, they went right back to the garbage that they have been going on for a long time. But this 10 years, they gave Bruce Jenner the Courage Award for becoming a woman. But I stopped watching ESPY 10 years ago. They got away from it. Now they're bringing it back. But let me tell you this. That's a bundle package that they've got set up. That's going to come to an end. We're going to be able to get our games. And as far as sports talk is going to be just like that. You say, how's that? Pat McAfee got a $100 million contract from FanDuel because more and more people want to go to individual personalities. For one, you can't say anything with cancel culture. And if you do, it's got to be the far left wing. Again, what Twitter is and Facebook, if it's got to be with what they want you to say. You can't say anything about a 6 foot tall man that it's wrong that swims against your 5'7" daughter who's worked her butt off her whole life to compete against a biological man. You can't say that, but you could talk about some law that doesn't even have anything to do with sports. So a teacher can't teach a 5-year-old about being gay and sexuality. Do you want your first grade to learn that stuff? That makes zero sense. The audacity. I will never watch anything with Ellen Duncan on there no more. She's on the Dan Le Batard list. She's on the Boani Jones list. I've forgiven what's his name, Stephen A. Sometimes he's back and forth. A lot of what he says is a character. He's a clown to me. Yeah. But Facebook and all those Russian talking point, all those big media companies, they're all gonna get broken down. They're all that's gonna come to an end. It may be to it, and they can't control the discourse in this country with these sporting companies, with your ESPNs. That's gonna come to an end. Mark my word. So I'm not even ticked off about it. You know, I'm not even ticked off. It used to tick me off, but I'm just judging by what I see. Everything I see going on. Spotify and Joe Rogan. Yeah, Joe Rogan says whatever he wants to on there. They got little things about COVID-19, but I was listening to one of his things, podcast today about a guy that he converted all these KKK people to walk away. I think his name is something Davis. I can't remember his name, but it's really good. It's Joe Rogan's and individual stuff like what we do, Carlos. That's going to come more into fruition, you know. That is going to come more into fruition, and corporate media can't sell us what they think that Silicon Valley is telling them that the country is when it's not. It's not. It's algorithms. It's fake. Twitter's fake. Twitter's gonna go down. Mark my word. So if you guys like the show, share the show. Occasionally, I get hot about stuff like that, and I don't like to talk about it. But that's why I like being on my platform, even though I'm not making anything hardly from this, nothing. But I like to say what I really mean. I like to say why I think Cleveland. You couldn't say what I couldn't say that on corporate media about questioning these accusations on Deshaun Watson. You're supposed to say he's bad, blah, blah, blah. And you're supposed to take up political issues, have nothing to do with sports and ESPN. And you have to supposed to say their little talking points. Now, if they offer me a job, I'll say, yeah, you can offer me a job, but I'm going to say what I really mean. I'm not going to say what you want me to say. If you want that, I'll just be a carrier forever and do this show, you know? But hey, that's why we have an audience and we have a growing audience because of this nonsense right here. So anyways, guys, I will be back on next Tuesday around 9 p.m. Central Time. Now check me out. Sunday, Max Sports, Mac, Jack, Jim, Jeff Coat. I'm still riding these guys about getting on, trying to get Jimmy Johnson interview with him. So we'll see how that works out. Been pushing for that. He's got a book out. It's going to come out in November. Great Jimmy Johnson there. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. I will put that on the big board here. So otherwise, guys, I will be back around 9 p.m. Check your listings. And also, check on, just keep your postings on because I will everybody likes the shorts. They like the 2-minute drills. They like that stuff, you know. And I didn't think that you would like that. But these shorts, when news breaks, I wanted to go on and do one with Matt Ryan, but I got busy. But I think it's an okay move by Indianapolis. In Atlanta, I think they should be more patient with the staff there because they don't have a clean slate with their salary cap probably until next year. But I'll give you that. You guys like those shorts. And Roku TV, 3 p.m. Central Time, replayed on Wednesdays if you missed today's program. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you next time here on Sports Scope.